Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I know I look a little bit crazy right now. I have no makeup on. It's not because I have a black eye. It's just been one of those weeks that make me want to punch the trucking industry in the face. This week, the average load booking time was about 5 hours per truck because regardless of what area you are in, good or bad, the rates just don't pay what I need them to pay, so I end up having to wait for that stress sale to come out, which comes out at the last moment of the day. For flatbeds, it's around 3 p.m. And considering the fact that I'm at the computer every day at 5 a.m., well, yeah. To top it off, we had a situation that happened this week that will be a great learning moment for you guys as well as myself, and I'll talk about it at the end of the video, and I do apologize in advance for the rant. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the trucking market and how it has changed. We'll look at volumes, rejections, capacity, diesel prices, and then we'll go into specifics for dry vans, reefers, and flatbeds to see what's going on the spot market. Ready? Let's go! All right, as always, we're starting with the truckload capacity. What is going on? Are people leaving? Are they coming in? Anyway, this week, I'm sorry. This week, we lost an additional 189 carriers. Again, I do apologize if I sound a little bit harsh today. I'm just really fed up. Not with you guys, with the industry. Anyway, we lost 189 carriers net. Now, what about those spot versus contract rates? So, the dark blue line is us in 2024, comparing it to 2023. The higher the line is, the smaller the margin between what contract and spot carriers get paid. Now, this data is about 2 weeks behind, but what we can see is there was a turnaround. Contract carriers all of a sudden are getting paid more than before than those spot carriers. And currently, contract carriers are earning on average 62 cents per mile more than the spot carrier. Now, in terms of volumes, the white line is us this year, the blue line is last year. What we can see throughout this whole year, volumes have been significantly higher than they were last year. But what we have also seen is in the past month or so, past few weeks, volumes have been inching closer to 2023 levels, although right now they did see a small turnaround, and this is probably because of the holidays, the upcoming holidays. The question is, what is happening with those rejections? Same concept, white line is 2024. Blue line is 2023. And we see that rejections have been falling for weeks now, but recently we did see a small uptick as of a day ago or so. Rejection levels are at 4.6%, which is still lower than that 5% mark, and anything lower than 5% means that the market is still contracting. Finally, we have our diesel prices. Diesel prices have been doing relatively well over the past few months, but over the past week or so, they have started to increase, unfortunately. And currently, diesel prices are around $3.74 per gallon. And this is according to actual truck stops. All right, now let's talk about how the market is doing for specific equipment types, starting with those dry vans. This is data that I get from FTR Intel, and this is spot market data. So week over week, dry vans have seen rates fall by 3%. Year over year, the rates are down 4%, and over the past 5 years, dry van rates are down 15%. Volumes week over week are down 0.8%. Year over year, they're down 25%. And over the past 5 years, they're down 44% for dry vans. The question is, are there better markets for dry vans? Yes, there are. So as always, we use sonar data. This is the general market, the general rejection levels for dry vans, the general volumes, and from this data, I make these little tables. So let's talk about volume first for dry vans. The top 5 areas, market areas where there is more volume, not on the spot market, in the general market, are Ontario, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California, Detroit, Michigan, and Dallas, Texas. Of course, this doesn't mean that these are the better market areas just because we don't know what capacity looks like here. But let's take a look at the top 5 rejection markets where contract carriers reject more freight, which are in the brackets. Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Dubuque, Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa, El Paso, Texas, and Rock Island, Illinois. Now, putting the volumes and rejections together gives us an idea of which market areas are seeing more contract freight fall from the contract market to the spot market. Those are Houston, Texas, Ontario, California, Los Angeles, California, Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Rock Island, Illinois. Now, just because there's more volume falling to these market areas doesn't mean anything without understanding what the capacity looks like on the spot market. To do that, I look at the DAT heat maps and I make this little chart. So Houston, Texas is good. There is not as much capacity. The problem is it's surrounded by overcapacity and a lack of load. So all those deadheading trucks dilute the situation. Ontario and Los Angeles are actually good and they're not surrounded by overcapacity. Green Bay, Wisconsin is a so-so market as it is, and it's surrounded by overcapacity. And Rock Island, Illinois is a better market than Green Bay, but again, surrounded by those deadheading trucks. All right, now let's do that whole thing again, but for reefers. Reefers week over week on the spot market saw pretty much no change in the rate per mile. However, year over year, the rates are down 5.5%, and over the past 5 years, they're down 11%. Now, reefers did see an increase in volume from last week by 1.7%. However, year over year, volumes are down 20%, and over 5 years, they're down 39%. All right, again, we're trying to figure out what are the best market areas, relatively speaking, for reefers, and we use the rejections and volumes in the general market to figure that out. So first, let's talk about where the volume is coming out for reefers in the general market. Joplin, Missouri, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Lakeland, Florida, Fort Worth, Texas, and Joliet, Illinois. Again, doesn't tell us anything about whether it's a good market area or a bad one. Let's take a look at rejections. The top 5 are Tifton, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Quincy, Illinois, North Platte, Nebraska, and Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Putting those two together, we figure out where more contract volume is hitting the spot market. Those areas are Joliet, Illinois, Atlanta, Georgia, Allentown, Pennsylvania, Pendleton, Oregon, which is new, and Chicago, Illinois. But again, just looking at this, it gives us an idea of where the volume is going. But it doesn't provide insight of whether there is a lack of capacity there, overcapacity there. So again, DAT heat market map. So Joliet, Illinois is just an okay area, but again, surrounded by overcapacity. Atlanta, Georgia is terrible. There are so many trucks competing for these loads that it doesn't matter how many loads hit the spot market from the contract market there, you're not going to get a good rate. Allentown, Pennsylvania is actually also good, but again, surrounded by places where there are not enough loads and overcapacity. Pendleton, Oregon is actually good. There are no nearby surrounding areas that have overcapacity. And Chicago, Illinois is just like Joliet, Illinois, just okay, surrounded by more trucks than there are loads. Finally, we have our flatbeds, which will explain my mood today. So flatbeds on the spot market week over week saw a 5-cent decrease per mile. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the 10th consecutive week that flatbeds are seeing those rates slide down. Year over year, flatbed rates are down 2%. Over the past 5 years, they are down 8%. Volumes also did not provide any relief. On the spot market, volumes are down 1.2% from last week. Year over year, they're down 4%. And over the past 5 years, volumes are down by basically half. So 41%, almost half. So yeah, this is the explanation for my mood today. Now, because Sonar doesn't provide much data for flatbeds, I am forced to make my own using truck stop data to figure out the better areas. So we're starting with the load map that I made, and the darker an area is, the more loads in that area. And what we can see is the loads are kind of congregating in Texas, the South, the Midwest, and the East Coast, as well as the West Coast now. But this doesn't tell us much without understanding what the capacity situation is like in these areas. So the capacity situation, the darker an area is, the more trucks there are hanging out there, more flatbeds there are. And there is more capacity in California, Texas, the Midwest, and the East Coast. Less capacity now in the Plain States as well as the Pacific Northwest. But putting those two together will give us an idea of what the load to truck ratio looks like and whether there is any room to negotiate. Now, this map might shock those of you who have been watching these videos week over week. The map looks much better than it has before. There are less red areas, there are more beige areas. Okay, let me explain. Red means overcapacity. There are way more trucks than there are loads. Anything beige, like right here, this is about 1 load per truck. So it's kind of equilibrium, more or less. Anything yellow, which is only one place, which is Wyoming right here, that's about 2 loads per truck. And anything green, which is Mississippi, Alabama, Washington, and Oregon, that's over 3 loads per truck. This is theoretically where the negotiating power will be. Now, from my experience, I'm going to tell you, Mississippi and Alabama, yes, these are market areas where you can get a very good rate, although it has gotten worse. There are no longer loads there anymore, but short hauls will pay well. Washington and Oregon. Now, this is a place, I'm sure there was some increase in volumes there. However, these are 2 states which are notorious for one broker getting one stinky load from a shipper and then reposting it 350 times, making it appear like volumes are much higher than they actually are. So be careful. Another thing I'm realizing with the Pacific Northwest is the fact that, yes, there are some good rates in these areas, but only if you're willing to go to a crappy area, especially North Dakota or South Dakota with a flatbed. In terms of Wyoming, I have no idea what's going on there. I don't know why it's showing 2 loads per truck. The last time we were there, it was horrific, and I'm having a very hard time believing that this is accurate. Maybe it's just a couple of brokers who got a couple of loads and reposted them 150 times. Maybe something is actually coming out of Wyoming. I don't know. You guys tell me. We haven't been there recently. Now, if you're looking at this whole map and thinking, hey, the situation is better, yes and no. So the situation is better in the sense that there might be a little bit more to choose from in terms of markets. However, if we're looking at the load to truck ratio on a national level, as I said in my previous video, a few weeks ago, it was at 1, which means that nationally speaking, if you average everything out, there was approximately 1 load per truck. But now it's less than a load per truck. It's actually at 0.97. As I already said, this week has definitely been an interesting one, from the fact that it took forever to book a single load to the cherry on top, where we basically were fined for being extremely overweight. Let me tell you the story. So my guy got loaded, and of course the first thing he does is he goes to a cat scale. And when he scales there, everything is perfect. All the axles are perfect. The gross is perfect. And he stops at that truck stop for the night. In the morning, he starts driving, and 2 miles down the road, he gets pulled into a weigh station. And in the weigh station, all of a sudden, he is 2,000 pounds overweight on one axle, and his gross weight is 81,700 pounds. And when my guy shows them the cat scale ticket and says, but listen, just 2 miles down the road, I got weighed in, they said, it is not our problem. We trust our scale. It is certified. And they handed him a fine of $84. And my course of action, of course, is to go after the cat scale, because on every cat scale ticket, it says that they guarantee the accuracy of their scales. And if something, they get to pay for the overweight tickets. So guess what? They're going to be paying for the overweight tickets. Or if we find out once he rescales again, if we find out that their scale was actually correct and it was the weight station scale that was wrong, they are going to actually send someone from the cat scale to appear in court with my guy. But the question is, who do you trust at this point? The annoying thing is when you're on the trucking side of this industry, you really can't trust anyone, but you will be held responsible every step of the way. But here's my advice. Do not let everybody bully you just because you are considered to be the scapegoat of this industry just because you drive a truck. Stand your ground and and understand that just because some fancy dude with some fancy title is telling you that, hey, you are in the wrong, it doesn't mean that you always are. The one thing that is starting to piss me off more than anything, more than the market, more than the brokers, more than the expenses and the inflation and everything, is the injustice that is happening to truckers every single day. So stand your ground and don't just simply accept the that is being thrown at you. I, for one, am done. Clearly, this whole illusion I had that, hey, being a nice person and being understanding is somehow going to earn you some gold stars in this industry or in life. Yeah, it took me a while to understand that that's just not the case. Anyway, I'm gonna stop here. I do apologize for the rant. I'm just done. Honestly, I don't even recognize myself in the mirror anymore. And I guess this is the price you pay. You lose yourself a little bit because everybody around is trying to screw you over in one way or another. Anyway, guys, wishing you all a fantastic weekend and a fantastic holiday. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep learning, and I will see you in the next video.